Jackson-Bolanos, this phone call was this after a preliminary examination?
Yes, I stated that.
And was this preliminary examination held in a different court?
In 36
district court? Okay. And was there a different judge that presided over that exam than is presiding over this trial as of right now?
Yes.
Thank you. And I would like to publish defense exhibits exactly.
This is a call from and paid for by.
Wait. Wait, this is defense's what?
Exhibit 11.
Defense 11 is admitted, you may publish.
And there is a lot of dead time, like 5 minutes of dead time, so I'm going to start at 5:34.
5:26.
First, when I first got there to leave you, he said, after the question you asked, he said, man, you really target his armor. Like, you really put kinks into his armor. And he said, normally when I cover these type of cases and the case is bound over, I don't think nothing much of it, man. He's like, man, your guy gonna get off.
Man, I ain't so broken. I ain't do this shit. But I'm just saying, once again, but I was also talking to, I also talked to Permanent Foods. She's gonna come see me tomorrow. I was wondering, will you come in to see me tomorrow, but you just stated that you got a case tomorrow, so.
My case is at 1:30, so I can come see you before then. I mean, I got some cases in the morning, so I'll have some time.
She wants to meet up with you. She said she's gonna go buy a 5 terabyte or 10 terabyte hard drive, and she wants to meet up with you.
Okay, and she brings it down there, because I have 2 different hard drives. I got a hard drive that needs to be plugged in, that has a little bit more stuff on there than the hard drive that I brought today, because the one that they gave me, you got to plug it into the wall and it needs a special encryption key and everything, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just wanted to go over some more stuff real quick. You said me, just like little questions I may have, since we leaving into the jury factor, you feel me? And then, like, from my knowledge of the jury, like, bro, they could, you feel me? And then now I've been amended, meaning I got a new charge, right?
Yeah, you got a new charge, which is first-degree murder. But in my opinion, they're not going to be able to prove that. Like I said, it would have been easier for them to try to prove that you broke in there to rob her and then you killed her. But now they got to prove basically that, you know, you went in there with the intention to murder her. They're not going to be able to prove that. I was reading some of the comments under the video, man. A lot of people was like, it don't add up. Like, it does not add up. You innocent, man. You got a lot of people from the outside in the public saying that it don't add up.
Man, shit, realistically it don't, and logically it don't, bro, because logically
I 100% get it. I mean, I know exactly what comes.
And then, like I was saying, bro, we do the cross. We gotta cut it off. I didn't ask none of that. It's yes or no. Cause you see, they fumble with their words. Yeah. Then they look at the prosecutor, and then the judge chimes in when he feels them trembling. The judge was chiming in like, you've been here 13 years, and you're not there. But it's like, bro, and then he's falling asleep up there. You even caught it this time. You feel me?
Yeah.
He's falling asleep. Yeah. And it's like, man, I want to never accused from the beginning. Just off of
that wasn't going to happen. I can tell you right now, that wasn't going to happen from the get-go. But we really get our theory across. Like, everybody who's watching it,
No, I said, no, you did amazing. You did a tremendous job, for sure.
Yeah, so the theory has been established, and everybody who heard the theory was like, yeah, that makes sense. The prosecutor's theory doesn't make sense at all. It's a victim of circumstance. Circumstances, you were in the area, you can explain why there's blood on it. It's very reasonable. And like even the judge said, so he finds it very peculiar. This is his word. And he says I find it very peculiar that there's not more blood on the front of you because the crime scene had a tremendous amount of blood here.
And then y'all got all the clothing I had on that, like some shoes, pants, coat. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
And even if you can't wash that shit up because it's still gonna be there.
And that's what the judge always said right there. Judge said when we came up there, he said when he asked him, he's like, man, I find it peculiar. He was talking with us. He's like, that there was no blood other than those 2 spots on his sleeve. And the prosecutor was like, oh, he may have watched it. And the judge was like, no, that wouldn't explain, you would have some traces of the blood other than, just on the arm. You would have it on the front. But like I said, you would have it on the front, you would have it on the shoes, the other items that wasn't there. So, and then he tried to say, it might be another item, it's a small blood on the backpack. I'm like, yeah, that's just, if he would have had blood on his hand and picked up the backpack, and the judge kind of shook his hand, and then the prosecutor would say, no. The prosecutor's feeling, like I told you before, I can't guarantee it, but I have a feeling that these two will not do the trial. Like, the prosecutor, I think he's having second guessing. Like I told you when I first talked to him about I took the theory of what happened, and he was like, why didn't you say that at first? He was like, why didn't you say that at first? And then he was like, he said, we thought that might be an issue too, where he found the body and then tried to run her pockets.
Yeah, like, come on, if this person had everything still on her.
Absolutely. There was nothing that was mistaken. There was nothing that was taken. No evidence that anything was taken, even though there was evidence that things were in plain view. The credit card was right on the table. You saw the credit card. The laptop was right there. The phone was right there. You had whatever it was had an opportunity to check it. This was not a theft involved. This was something else. It had nothing to do with no theft. Whoever went there did not come to steal something from her. Somebody went there to steal her, and they had ample time. They had a lot longer than 60 seconds to press over her from room to room, to beat her up. She got bruises all on her body from head to feet. And then get out of there. It was a new shit that there's like the fact that you were.
Pretty unusual stuff there that we're hearing the defendant in his own words as he's on the stand in a phone call to his attorney. To discuss this, let's bring in my guest for this hour. Joining us, we have law enforcement and litigation expert Sonny Slaughter and criminal defense attorney and former district attorney Matthew Mangino. Thank you both for being with us. To you first, Matthew. Doesn't this, I'm just surprised because wouldn't this fall normally under attorney-client privilege? Why is this coming in and on direct?
Well, yes, you're right, Matt. It would normally be protected by the attorney-client privilege, but you can waive that privilege as a defendant. And in this instance, this is direct examination. So this is, his opportunity to testify with his attorney asking him questions. So he can waive that. You can bring that in because that privilege belongs to the defendant. And if the defendant doesn't want that privilege or wants to waive that privilege, he can do so. And this is really unusual, though. It's rare ever to hear a conversation between an attorney and his client being played for the jury.
Right. So, Matthew, is he building basically more building blocks of his narrative that he wants this jury to hear before he's under cross?
Well, yes. What he's doing is he's showing that essentially his position hasn't changed since early on in this case, and I think what he said at the end of that narrative was, in fact, hey, This was someone who was the target of murder. This wasn't a robbery. This was someone who knew this person. So he knew enough, even at that time, to discuss that. Hey, this is more a crime of passion than a robbery. And he makes that clear to his lawyer, and now the jury gets to hear them say that long before he testified in the case.
Exactly. Putting those seeds in that jury's mind of what he wants them to hear as he continues to tell his story. All right, we're going to put a pin in it right there. Matthew, you're going to stick with us for this hour. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Still ahead, more of that phone call between the defendant and his attorney. You're watching Court TV. Front row seat to justice. And welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson in this morning for Julie Grant. Thanks for being with us. Now today, Court TV is live here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, covering Alec Baldwin's involuntary manslaughter trial. Opening statements could begin as early as Wednesday morning. This morning at 10:30 Eastern, all parties will be in court for an important motions hearing except defendant Alec Baldwin, who has waived his appearance. We'll have more on that later. But first, right now, we are following testimony in the Synagogue leader murder trial. This happening out of the Detroit area. Samantha Woll found dead outside of her home last year, stabbed to death. Defendant Michael Jackson-Bolanos is accused of killing her. Bolanos says that he's being falsely accused and that he was burglarizing cars the night of the murder and that he fled the scene because of his prior convictions. Well, let's get you back into that court right now. What's happening is the defendant is on the stand and the jury is hearing a phone call between this defendant and his attorney.
They rushing me and bothering me about it like how they were bothering the media and everybody involved. Because what's going on? What's taking so long? Come on, we need somebody. So now they just picking the easiest target, which they believe whatever they need.
It's going to cost them. That in the long run, their hastiness in this case on charging you and making a press conference, putting your picture out, all that stuff, that's going to cost them in the long run. That's going to come back to bite them.
Yeah. So do you believe, I guess I want to talk to you guys both tomorrow, do you believe the speedy, the FT or not?
I mean, we're not going to waive your right to a speedy trial. We're going to have it, it's going to be in a particular fashion.
I ain't trying to sit in here.
We're not going to waive your right. No, never close to that. Never close to that. We're not going to waive your right to a speedy trial. We're going to come forward, at a reasonable time. So when next Tuesday, we're probably going to set the trial date. It's probably going to be sometime realistically, maybe this summer. It's a January, because we need to court about February, so it'll probably be around, maybe May, June-ish by the time you go to trial. Give or take, don't quote me on it. It all depends on the court schedule and everything also. But after around June-ish, you'll be going to trial.
Yeah, that's still for Tony.
Yeah,
I'm thinking this was speedy is like right then and there. Like, all right, after the 30th of this month, we're looking at March.
You need to be too soon because, for one, we're not going to have the preliminary exam transcript. That's going to be a while because the exam was so long. So it's going to take a little bit for them to get that exam transcript because we definitely need that before we go to trial because we might have to impeach some people if they try to say something differently than what they testify at the exam. We'll be like, hey, bam, you said this back on the exam on January 23rd. Now you said something different.
Right, like people was doing me and fumbling and rewording and trying to go around. And that's another thing too, man, no going around the questions. No trying to reword, rephrase, and recameo statement and say it's a strictly yes or no. And we were saying that together, whispered each other like, man, why they keep just answering yes or no? Why they keep trying to, oh, well, I know this from doing this and this.
We on that, yeah, definitely. And it's yeah. We got to talk to me from each individual, because when it boils down to our theory basically has been established by some of the people. Didn't really matter. Some of the people, they don't really have too much to do with it. The more important individuals are going to be the guy who basically did the phone matter. We're going to have our own phone guy who talks to him. So that he testifying to is going to be discredited. Basically, there's no way from his phone mapping that they can pinpoint where you are. All they can tell you is a general area. Just like they had the longitude and latitude for her phone, the company of Marco was testifying that the latitude moved, so she basically couldn't tell the phone was moved, the location wide during the time period. They could have got the exact same location information from your phone. And we would have put it in this particular system using our software. We would have been able to tell you, specifically where he was at as far as latitude and latitude. They didn't do that stuff because they don't want it to be done. But we're going to have our guys look at information. They don't want that information to be out because that discredits their whole theory. It would say, you're in the area. They know, I don't believe they really do now. They just want to have the people assume that you were in the area, so you must have done it. And that's not going to be enough to prove you beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not going to be enough.
So everything that was on the record here, nothing. Everything that wasn't objected to, that's all supposed to be turned it over to, right? That's all the evidence that they're using. That's everything that they're using.
At trial, they're gonna have to reestablish it again. I mean, you carry it over from preliminary examination. Preliminary examination, that's something I say for preliminary examination purposes only. Preliminary examination is different in a trial. So the preliminary examination, like the lab reports, the medical examiner, they let certain things come in without the person testifying to at an exam. At a trial, the medical examiner has to come and testify. The individuals who did those lab reports will actually have to come in and testify. So it's different rules that apply at an exam. An exam is a lot less lenient. I mean, more lenient.
More so on the thing, if this was a poker hand, if this was poker, who looking good? Yes. And as far as establishing, planting and establishing our theory, I mean, you're looking good. I don't believe that they can't prove you on a reasonable doubt, but you did it. They had no evidence. Even the judge had to say it's very plausible, it's very possible that, being the quote-unquote thief you are, came across the body. He still had to defame a nigga. Still had to. I mean, the camera's on. Why would you say that I had to check her? He even had to admit himself that it's very possible of our theory that she died earlier, got up, stumbled outside, and which is you, just like the other witness, came across her body and touched her. For whatever reason he said he had touched her, he said that's very possible. And had the cameras not been there in his face, and all the cameras not been there in his face, he would have dismissed that case. Just for him saying that is a possibility. Because normally if he would have felt the way, he would be like, I think he did it, I think he claimed it. But he was like, he said that multiple times that is a possibility that you came across the body, and that would explain the little bit of blood, because to him it was very peculiar that all that blood in that house, in that apartment, you only had two little specks on the back of your sleeve? That don't make sense. Don't let them fabricate nothing in and then get the putting more specs everywhere else now.
No, it can't be done now.
After they already agreeing everything, after they already agreeing everything, they say, oh, yeah, it's another one. We checked again, now we got this. Like, no, hell no.
It's too late now. It's way too late for that now. Once we establish that on the record, if we make it to the jury, we're going to question on why would they run this backpack? Because they got pictures of the backpack at first. Why would you run this backpack 2 months later after you ran everything? You submitted everything back in October, and then that's why we've been bringing stuff. That's why we've been bringing it up. We didn't bring that stuff up at all. You know what I'm saying? So it don't pass the smell test. Like, you had all this evidence, you had all this DNA, everything. You had so much DNA in the month of October and November, and then at the end of December, almost January, you're going to submit this backpack, and we're going to have these pictures of where they extracted his blood from. It don't even add up. If you look at hypothetically, even if they say, okay, the jury may feel like, okay,
And that animated phone call that this jury is listening to right there in the Detroit area, that continues. But don't worry, we're going to hit the pause button. You're not going to miss any of it. We're going to see how that comes to a conclusion. More testimony in the Synagogue leader murder trial when we come back. This is Court TV.
A-list actor Alec Baldwin is cast in the real-life role he never wanted.
I turn cock the gun goes off.
Criminal defendant.
His lack of gun safety is something that he's going to have to answer for.
We heard that this was a toxic set.
One more.
It's not his fault. He did nothing wrong.
Is there an actor's exemption from liability when they're handling a deadly firearm?
The Alec Baldwin manslaughter trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
I don't remember it. Where's your girlfriend stay at? She's in Detroit. Okay. What makes you think that you killed her?
That was the victim's ex-boyfriend confessing to her murder. But a different man was named as the suspect in the Synagogue leader murder trial, playing out right now. Prosecutors say that Michael Jackson-Bolanos stabbed Samantha Woll during a random home invasion, but the defendant says no. He was burglarizing cars when he came across Woll's body. Samantha Woll's ex-boyfriend initially said that he killed her, but later recanted, saying his confession was due to medication. Let's get you back into court now, where the jury is hearing an emotional jail call between the defendant and his attorney.
That's what's going on there. It's explainable because them themselves said you didn't have a backpack on, and then you had a backpack on, so you had to grab his backpack from somewhere. And he's not suggesting that you got it from her. So wherever you have your backpack, you had to touch it. You had to put it on your back, you know. And if you touched her and had blood on your hands, then it would have been a microscopic.
Also made me notice I didn't have the right bag anymore either.
Yes.
All of a sudden I got a newer bag, so right to the right bag. How you know that person with this person in here with that? You feel me?
How do we know that's you?
It's right, and then y'all don't even know. And then they kept dodging that question, so that's why we defended and bring the GS. You feel me? We bring up that GS.
You bring up the what?
The GS, the GL. We bring up that. You feel me?
Oh,
yeah. That's gonna prove. That's gonna show that they did like illegal tasks to really identify a POI. You feel me?
Yes. And that issue is going to be litigated way before trial. We're going to litigate that issue with a motion, and the judge is going to determine whether or not he's going to like whoever our judge is going to be. I don't know. It might be judge. I ain't gonna say I don't know who the judge is going to be. Might be the chief judge, Judge Knapp. He's pretty. I've had some good rulings from him in the past. So he might. We don't know who the judge is going to be. We'll definitely litigate this. Yes, a week from today.
Okay.
So we arrangement of the information, basically we're going to arrange you in circuit court. Nothing's already happened. Got to get some dates. Order the transcript. You order the transcript next week. Give a motion cutoff date that all the motions got to be due by a certain time. And I would suspect that we will get trial dates next week too. We'll set the trial dates sometime in the near future.
Okay. Damn. All right.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
So what do you think about all of this? Let us know on social media. Meantime, let's check in with our guests for this hour. We have Sonny Slaughter, who is a law enforcement and litigation expert. We also have Matthew Mangino, who is former district attorney. You're practicing attorney now. Matthew, to you first, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, really, it's extraordinary. If you listen to what he was saying, the defendant on this tape-recorded telephone conversation, he was giving a closing argument for the preliminary hearing. So he was arguing issues that you would typically hear in a closing statement. So he's attacking the evidence of the prosecution, at the early stage of the case at the preliminary hearing. But still, it's an opportunity to argue issues in front of a court that's really not subject to cross-examination at that moment that it's being said. Of course, they can go back and talk about these things on cross-examination, but really, I thought it was an extraordinary opportunity.
Absolutely. And Sonny, we have about 30 seconds. You get the final word.
I agree with Michael. I've never heard anything like this. And imagine a defendant committing another crime and then being accused of a crime that he had not committed, but also playing it out in this type of way. I think this is magnificent from his attorney, and hopefully we'll see how things turn out as this case evolves.
Yeah, and it's just so unusual. I just can't get past the fact that he waived his right. And is he putting on an act? Sonny, again, very short answer here, but what are you expecting on cross?
I expect that they're going to say that he was there, that he had the opportunity, the means, and it happened. But I don't think he's putting on an act because this was all before he got on the stand.
Sonny Slaughter, Matthew Mangino, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't go anywhere, folks. Coming up, the defendant, Michael Jackson-Bolanos, explains that the jail call to the jury. He answers more questions about it, and you're not going to want to miss it. This is Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm your host for this hour, Matt Johnson, coming to you live from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm filling in for Julie Grant today. Thanks for being with us. Here's a look at some of the cases that we are tracking for you at this hour. Quite a bit. Here in New Mexico, an important all-day motions hearing is set to begin this hour for the Alec Baldwin manslaughter trial. Baldwin isn't expected to be in court today, but we will and bring you all the developments throughout the day. You'll see him right here on Court TV. In Kentucky, Brooks Houck and his two co-defendants in the murder and disappearance of Crystal Rogers are back in court for an important hearing there. And in Michigan, testimony is underway in the Synagogue leader murder trial. Let's get you back into that Detroit courtroom right now with more on that murder trial and that phone call between the defendant and his attorney.
Mr. Jackson-Bolanos, we just heard the entirety of this conversation. What did you mean by it when you said you're not a weird person, basically?
The judge was basically stating that.
Objection. Calls for hearsay.
He responds to why he said a particular thing, but not saying it for the truth of the matter asserted or what the judge said.
Well, he doesn't have to say what the judge said. He can just say why he said that.
Okay.
Comments was made that that the thief I am, I probably ran her pockets. That was untrue. I'm not that individual to take anything from someone dead.
Okay. Were you denying touching her during this conversation?
I was denying just violating her in any way, touching her inappropriately, or taking anything from her.
Okay. And just to be clear, did you take anything from her?
No.
Now, there was some, I guess, conversation about haunted houses. Did you ever check on your phone about the haunted houses?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know when?
October, early October.
Did you ever end up going to a haunted house in October?
I went to a couple of them.
There was also some conversation about a black light. Do you remember anything, any searches about a black light?
Sort of, kind of when it was brought up, but that was like in reference to when I was at a haunted house party. I was noticing a lot of lint on my clothing, and I looked to see what else it sees.
Okay. Did you ever search Southwest careers?
Yes.
Okay, and why were you doing that?
I had just got back off the road like the month before October from driving trucks, and I wanted to take up flight attendant or airport dealings.
Okay. Did you also search what type of airlines or what airlines are basically felon friendly as far as hiring?
Yeah, as far as I knew, Southwest and Delta were, but I had filed on Delta. Delta tried to scam me. I had went to the wrong page.
Okay. Now, why were you searching if airlines were hire felon? Why would you search them?
Because I'm a felon.
Okay. Have you been convicted of receiving and concealing stolen property?
Yes, motor vehicles.
Okay. And what is that in relationship to those particular charges?
Basically going out scouting cars and eventually stealing them.
Okay. And have you been convicted twice of that?
Yes, I have.
Now, you stated that you made a comment saying you wouldn't take anything from a dead person, correct?
That's correct.
From their person, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you take anything from a live person? Like, would you rob a live person?
No.
So, in your mind, what's the difference from stealing from a person's actual body than stealing from a person's car?
To me, the difference would be scaring somebody, hurting somebody, to take from them. If I take from a car, there's nobody. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not bringing any ill will towards anyone.
Okay. Do you think that if you steal somebody's property from their car, it could possibly bring them ill will?
Yeah, I can see that.
Have you been convicted of robbing somebody?
No, but I had a situation in juvenile.
Now, why wouldn't you go into somebody's house? as far as committing some kind of home?
First and foremost, I don't know what's behind waiting for me if I do go in anybody's house. I've never went in anybody's house before, even as a kid. I don't do that. That's never been my thing. I'm not into B&Es or home invasions.
Okay, what do you mean by you don't know what's waiting behind you, behind the door for you?
Everybody and their mama and son and kids got guns. I'm not putting my life on the line like that.
Did you have a gun when you went out?
No, I didn't. I'm a felon. I can't have none of that.
Okay. Now, when you went out to, I guess, scout cars on this particular night, was this a common thing that you did around this particular time, or?
It was just, I had, previous to dropping Miss White off to work a couple of days prior, I had synced that Charlie, and I wanted to find it. When I synced it, turn in one of these locations.
Okay, and when you say Charlie, are you referring to?
That scat pack that I took a picture of.
Okay. Since this particular night, have you went out scouting for cars or hitting door handles?
No.
And why happened?
The night was shocking, like, sink a dead woman. I'm done doing all of that, I'm straight.
Had you ever came across a dead person while you was out hitting door handles?
No.
How did you feel when you got back home? About that?
Just weirded out to the fact that I touched her.
Okay. Did you mention anything about it to your wife?
No.
Okay. And why not?
It had nothing to do with me, so it wasn't worth telling anybody.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson-Bolanos. No further questions.
Hi, for sure.
Yes.
Michael Jackson-Bolanos there. He is facing murder charges. He says that, sure, I steal cars because that doesn't hurt people, and I never enter anyone's house, and I don't have a gun. Let us know what you think.